Hello everyone. Just wanted to give you a brief update here. Got the fascia installed, which you can see there. I've got the holes drilled in it to mount the on-off switches for the various side tracks and for the various yards and so forth. So what I'm going to be doing today is painting the fascia. So I want to get that done, and then I'll come back and show you how that looks. I was lucky in that I only had two seams that I had to deal with. One of them is right over here by where my slide in goes, and the other one is back over here on this one section. So what I did is I bought a 4x8 sheet of masonite and I just cut it into 4-inch strips. So that saved me quite a bit. I didn't want to get too big of a fascia on here. I wanted to have room for shells and such underneath, and also what I plan to do, and I'm not sure exactly when this is going to happen, but I want to put some skirting underneath the fascia. Once I get my scenery done, a lot of the stuff that's down under here in these cardboard boxes will be used on the layout, and I can get rid of the boxes and such. So there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff to store under there, but I think just having the skirting on there will make it look a lot better. You see these 7 flat cars that I have over here on this one siding. I went to a train show, I guess a week and a half ago now, up in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I bought these flat cars. And the reason I did was I have a bunch of Caterpillar items that are over here that I wanted to put on flat cars because I really have no place on the layout to use them now. I don't have any kind of construction site or quarry or anything like I had back in the day. So I'm going to use these cars to mount those on just to create another train with some interest. I did weather all of the beds of the flat cars, so you can see all of those. The technique was the same, but obviously the result is different on each one. I started out by painting them kind of a tan color, and then came back with white over the top of that, and then dry brushed some black on top to kind of give it a really weathered look. So anyway, once I get that done, I'll obviously post a video on how that looks. But I want to get around to painting the fascia, and once I get that done, I'll come back and we'll take a look at the results. All right, so the fascia is painted, and I have all of the switches in, drilled through the fascia. I've got them labeled. I may do a little bit better job on labeling sometime in the future, but for right now, this is going to do just fine. Used a label gun to make those, so it is what it is. I mounted my wired controller over here on the fascia. Again, if you remember, this track right here is a program track, and it's also can be used as a main track. I just have it labeled main now. I could do track 5 just to label it like these others over here, so it's part of the yard, but it's just going to be me in here, so I know what that means. The only place I'm going to use the wired controller is right here for programming, so I've just got it mounted to the fascia, as I just said. So a couple of power switches in there on the engine facility. I have a maintenance line and a fueling line, so that's what those labels say. Here, as far as the yard goes, I have the lead, which is on the left, the outside most yard track, and then tracks 1 through 4 as they come in towards the center of the fascia here. And then again, as I said, the main line here. So as far as turning this into a program track, all you have to do is flip this down to program, and then obviously you can program. If you flip it up to main, then it works just like any other yard track. And if you turn it to center, that takes power away. So no main, no program when it's in the center. Coming around to the peninsula, I'm going to try and do this slowly so I don't make anyone seasick. I've started to work on the log pond here. I've got it painted. I still need to seal it with some silicone sealant around the edge. So that's yet to be done. The fascia is, and I don't know if I talked about this before, but it sticks up about 3/8 of an inch above the cork right now. And anywhere there's a gap along the edge, and you can probably see that here, there's probably, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch gap there. I'll fill all of that with caulking before I put scenery in. So that's yet to be done. What else? Over here on this side, I have a couple of other power switches. This area is in a little bit of disarray right now, but on the back side, I have my LPG facility going in there, and this is a grain facility here. It's kind of taken apart right now. What I decided to do, though, was add another siding in here. So if you recall from the past, this siding here, which has 2 tracks on it to service the plastic pellet facility down there in the corner. You know, I had a lot of real estate on this part of the layout that was chewed up just by the lead into that siding. So I decided to add another turnout here and another siding, which is going to enable me to use this building, and you see the blue and gray one down there at the end. So a couple of warehouses that I can put in here. And I'm thinking about, in the middle, probably doing a team track in there. Or I don't know, like a ramp and a platform for unloading, just to give me somewhere else to spot cars. So anyway, I was glad to be able to get that siding in here. It's 6 feet long, so there's plenty of room there. What else? I don't know that there's anything else new other than the fascia being painted. Back there, there's one more power switch, which you can see on the right side. It says lumber. By the time I got around to that point, you know, I've got 4 sidings that are in the lumber facility, if you remember. There's one over there at the far side where that little semi is, the Georgia Pacific. There's one there. There's one here at the log unloader. There's one right here, which is going to have a wood chip loading facility on it. And then there's this final siding right here, which has another wood chip loader on it. So, you know, there's 4 sidings in there. I could have put a power switch on each one because I have plenty of on-off switches, but I just kind of got tired of wiring switches by the time I got around here. So at some point in the future, if I decide to wire those up for on-off, I can certainly do that. But those sidings are not that long that they would probably have a locomotive sitting there at any time anyway. So right now there's just one power switch for the entire lumber facility. Over there in the back, and I think I may have talked about this, is just trying to place the houses here in the town. I haven't done anything with this since I talked about it last, so I'm still not sure if that's how I'm going to arrange that, or you know, if I'm going to come straight here, excuse me, straight across this with a crossing, and then maybe do a couple of right-angled streets running you know, up towards the engine facility there with only a couple of houses on each one. Haven't decided that yet. Or maybe one street with, you know, houses either side. Anyway, still some playing around to do with that. Let's see, what else? Oh, let me pause this for a minute and put in my okay, so here's the slide out. I have a little bit of scenery on there, and where that came from, and I'll explain why there's only a 2-foot square section here in just a second. But I bought this roll of material from Hobby Lobby, and let me just grab it here and unroll it so you can see it. It's actually, and I found this last year when Hobby Lobby was closing out their spring merchandise, and it looks really green. It looks almost like it's a lime green here with the low lighting, but it's actually kind of a forest green color. And it's got these kind of hills in it and some pathways, and you know, kind of looks like I don't know, just like a field. So I decided I was going to try this. The reason I decided to put it here is that this area on the right side is going to be a farm scene. So barn, silo, house, and then here with where the drills are, farm fields, you know, corn, wheat, whatever. There's going to be a fence here, right on the edge, that will divide the farm from this area of scenery. And then on this side, this is the end of the yard, obviously. I'm going to have another fence here, which will divide the scenery again from the yard area. So a good way to delineate, you know, areas of scenery. Whatever kind of brushes and trees and such that I put in here, any kind of ground cover along the fence row, I'll try and obviously blend it in. So, and again, this looks pretty lime green. It's not, it's more of a forest green color. Back here, this little piece of track is what I cut out where I put the turnout in back on the other side with the warehouses. So I'm going to remove my height gauge here, put this piece of track in, stick the height gauge back here at the end. It'll give me, you know, the ability to park one more car on that siding. I have the track, you know, why not use it, right? But I think that's about it for now. So I think, let me just talk about painting the track. I also sprayed this section of track. If you remember before, this was just plywood. So I've sprayed that section of track with it's camouflage Rust-Oleum, and I don't remember the color. It's sort of a gray brown. It looks kind of almost black in the video, but it's really kind of a dark gray. So the ties are sprayed as well. Don't know how well that's showing up. I don't know if I can get a close-up of this. These are unpainted here, the brown, and then this is already sprayed back here. So that's probably the color. So, sorry about the abrupt end of the prior segment there. I got a temperature warning on my cell phone and it shut down. So first time that's ever happened. So anyway, I think I was talking about this piece of track here. So I'm going to put that in, extend that track there, just because I have it. And a couple of final comments. I have this model, Ma's Place, and then here the oil loading platform that I'm going to assemble, and it's going to go back in the oil and LPG area on the back side there. And Ma's Place, I think, is going to go where I have the lumber mill sitting right now, probably in this area somewhere, with a road going back that direction towards the wall somewhere, kind of as a truck stop for all of the trucks that I'm going to have on the layout. So those are about the last two buildings or kits to put together. Hopefully I'll be doing that shortly. What I'd like to do soon is get this log pond done. Obviously painted a dark brown right now. You know, as I said, I have to get some silicone and seal the edges. But once I do that, you know, I'll be mixing up some test pond colors in some water rather than trying to use resin to do that. I've got some brown and some, I don't know, kind of forest green, well, maybe not forest green, but like an olive drab color that I'm going to try and combine, you know, different amounts of each and see if I can't get a dirty looking, muddy looking log pond color. So may not be for a couple of weeks, and I think what I'm going to try and do is move to kind of a monthly update video. So we'll consider this the March update video, and then you know, probably not post something else until the first part of April. But appreciate everyone staying with me. I know it's kind of infrequent time periods here between videos, so hopefully, you know, if I go to once a month, it'll be at least a little bit more uniform. So thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. Appreciate everyone's comments and sticking with me. Talk to you soon.